I could have everybody's attention, it is 2 o'clock, and we're going to open the board meeting. This is a special board meeting, so it only has one item on the agenda, but at this point, Beth, could you read the roll call, please? It's not me.
Okay. Kathy Batchelor.
Here.
Nellie Johnson.
Here. She did have it on.
I did have it on, but it was making that horrible noise. Sorry. Nellie Johnson.
Here.
Bart Hillier.
Here.
Steve Reynolds.
Here.
Dave Barker.
Here.
Marge Garneau. Bev Lawless.
Here.
Lanny Smith.
Here.
Jody Walker.
Here.
And Scott Summers.
Here.
Me and my mic. We have a quorum. Are there any amendments to the agenda or a motion to adopt the agenda?
I move approval of the agenda.
I second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please raise your hand. It's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, the action item that we have today is the guest pass policy, and I'm going to turn it over to Scott, who's going to make the presentation.
Thank you. I'm going to attempt to pull up my staff report and our recommendations so that everyone knows what we're looking at here. Sorry, how's that? Okay. Pulling up my screen, this is the report that is out there publicly. This shows options for the board to consider and our recommendations. So this is kind of a starting point. The board is being asked today to discuss and reconsider recent guest pass policy changes. I'd like to first thank all of you for coming. Really appreciate the feedback and your input that you've provided. We know this is a big issue. The Board Affairs Committee, staff worked on this item for about 9 months. We did a survey of our membership. One of the biggest concerns that came out of the discussions and the survey was enforcement challenges. And I want to provide an example of some enforcement challenges. It was particularly associated with our annual guest pass, which didn't have any limitations on the number of swipes that somebody could use. There was nothing in the policy that gave a concrete number on how many are okay and how many aren't okay. So we have examples, many examples of non-members using guest passes, whether they qualified as a guest or not, they still used it. Hundreds of times, 200 times. We have one example of a person that used it in 500 times. So that kind of set the tone for the discussion and why enforcement was concerning. There was nothing in the policy that identified what the word temporary was. The policy says a guest has to be temporary, but it didn't say temporary means 30 days, 60 days, 100 days. So it was subjective, and it was near impossible to enforce. So we had a good discussion and came up with what we thought was a reasonable solution. In terms of enforcement, it's certainly a lot easier to require each person to carry a pass, because then, where's your pass? Here's your pass. I'm one person, etc. That was part of the thinking here. I think we recognize that that's been some consternation for some people, and honestly, totally get it. Absolutely. And I want to say that there's been a lot of work in this, and here maybe we missed the mark a little bit, and that's why we've called this meeting, and we want to have this discussion to see if we can get it a little bit closer to correct this time. So just a little bit more feedback on this. The board did approve this policy. It was recommended by the Board Affairs Committee. on November 19th to go into effect January 1. We are anticipating today to talk about and rectify the situation. We want to ensure a high level of customer service. Staff does provide the following recommendation, which is up on the screen, to allow 2 persons per guest pass. That's for all guest passes, whether it's an annual or a weekly or a daily. We're hoping that that will help to solve the problem. We heard a few things. One, it's inconvenient. A lot of visitors come in couples, come in pairs, and so, you know, I hear that. I think that makes sense. We completely understand it, which is why we're recommending this. The other was the cost. There were examples of 3 or 4 people that are guests, and the member wants to bring them to the pool or the hot tub, and they're only going to sit there about 20 or 30 minutes, and the cost would be about $30. And I agree, that's too much. I think that's unreasonable. So here are some real-life examples that, you know, I think it's been really helpful to hear the feedback. And again, because of all of you, that's why this meeting has been called, to hopefully correct the situation. So I've got some options up here for the board to consider and discussion points. Option 1 is amend the CPM guest pass policy to allow 2 persons to utilize 1 guest pass for all guest passes. Option 2 would be to amend it to allow 4 persons per pass, which would really take it back to the previous policy. Another option would be to decrease the cost of the daily pass. I would add the weekly pass in here as an option too, because cost was certainly a factor. Again, I'm not so sure cost would be such a factor if 2 people are allowed per pass. Any configuration of the above or anything else that the board wants to motion and amend a motion for. And of course, the other is to maintain the existing policy. I just want to emphasize staff's recommendation is option 1, and the recommended motion is to amend CPM 1.2.2 guest policy to allow 2 persons to utilize 1 guest pass for all guest passes. That's daily, weekly, and the annual 30-day punch. 2 persons. So with that, I'd like to open up to the board if you have any questions. Otherwise, you can move forward with a motion and a second on whatever you'd like, and then you can have discussion amongst yourselves. Once the board is finished deliberating, we'll open it up to the members for comment, and each member has 2 minutes to be able to share their comments. Bart has a question.
Bart?
Scott, as you know, back in November, I moved to change 1 to 2, which failed on a 6-5 vote. But I guess I'm growingly intrigued by option 2 as opposed to option 1, even though I realize that option 1 is the one that you and your staff recommend. As between those 2 or 4, is there any significant downside to doing 4 as opposed to 2?
I think the only downside is the enforcement challenges that already exist. For example, if your 4 guests are on the tennis court and 1 person has the pass, that means 3 others don't have the pass. It's much more difficult for our staff to identify and you know who actually is here legally. And unfortunately, we do have examples, real life examples of people coming in that shouldn't be there. The gate is opened, same with the pickleball courts. It happens more often than we'd like. And so again, part of the concern here was how can we tighten up enforcement? And I think this is a balance. This is where the challenge is, because the more enforcement and tighter we make it, the more inconvenient it's going to be and more expensive for our members. So I think 2 strikes a reasonable balance. You know, we've lived with 4 for quite a while. I think we can certainly live with it, but we have to recognize that this 4 would I think increase our challenges with enforcement.
Beth?
So whether we go with a 2 or 4 change, it's not going to change. We already solved the problem of the 200 or 500 people, 500 swipes a year for somebody who probably isn't a member. So, because we put the 30 days on it, right? So we've solved that problem by putting the 30-day time limit on the pass itself. So I think, seems to me it's a little bit of an easier question than it was before, because we solved the more difficult problem of people overusing or guests overusing the pass.
I would agree with that. The primary issue here was trying to tighten up this loophole in the policy that allowed unlimited use, essentially. Hundreds and hundreds of swipes by people that aren't members of GVR. They're not paying dues, and they are, putting wear and tear on our facilities, and they're taking up facility space for our members. So I agree with you 100%. That was the primary concern.
Bev?
Because of all of the abuse in the past, I would like to see it remain one person per pass, however, reduce the cost. I know many couples or it doesn't matter if they're family or not, want to do different things. I might want to play pickleball and my husband might want to go for a swim. And if we're in two different places, we might not even be at the same facility. We each need a guest card. So to me, it would make sense to keep it to one person and change the cost to $5 a day.
Please, people, could we keep it down? Nellie?
Thank you. I was on the Board Affairs Committee when we looked at this policy and also looked around the country of what other communities do. And also looked at the results of the survey, of which the issue of the enforcement was pretty well documented as far as a desire from the membership to have enforcement. And so for a person to have one card per daily guest or weekly guest is something that I would support. It's what Bev has commented on. But I would look at reducing the price to $5 a day. I think on the family card, the annual guest card, I think allowing 2 guests on that per visit, because it is changed to a 30-day kind of cap punch card type of an arrangement, I think is a compromise. But the issue of trying to move towards one card per person, which would help, and I think also provide flexibility to the visitors to go, one person plays pickleball and the other person goes swimming. They can divide up and take advantage of the many activities that we do have. So thank you.
Candy?
Okay. I'm the chair of the Board Affairs Committee. So I stand by the original decision of our committee to have one pass per person, as inconsistent with most organizations or health facilities like LA Fitness or Quail Creek or Sun City. However, what I personally did not consider was the culture and the tradition of GVR and the annual pass. We were first given the challenge to change the annual pass to the 30-day punch card. And instead, I think what we came up with was the wrong decision, and I take responsibility for that, because I did not take into account, again, that at one time you guys had unlimited guests who could come, and then it was 4 guests who can come, and then we reduced that to 1. And again, as I still am an advocate for one person, one pass, because I just think that's more consistent and would help with the misuse, I also realize that at GVR, it probably wasn't a good decision because of what you have done in the past. So I'm advocating for the 2-person per pass on the annual card at this time. And I'd also like to thank all of you for writing us and letting us know your concerns and your disapproval with the new policy, because otherwise we wouldn't know that. So, and that's how our board can better serve you, is for you to let us know when we've messed up. So I appreciate you letting us know that.
Steve?
Can't hear you. Still can't hear you. How's that? Okay, sorry. We do have a new weekly pass with the new policy. And in order to be fair for single guests, I believe it's important that we think about reducing the cost of that as well, from $30 to $15 per guest. Sorry. Let me start over. So we do have a new weekly pass this year in the new policy. And I think it's important that we remember that the new policy may have missed the boat on the financial part of our members' outlay in guest costs. And if we do reduce the daily cost of the new pass to $5 per member, I think we should also reduce the weekly cost from $30 to $15. And this will help defray the new annual 30-day use pass, which I support for 2 members. This entire policy was brought to the attention of the board and the Board of Affairs because of enforcement. And I think staff did an excellent job in promoting that. It's a very complicated campus that we have because of all the different locations. Technologically, I think we need more help with our enforcement. I'm looking forward to finding out what additional enforcement procedures the staff is planning to do in addition to the new card system. But when I looked at my rec center in Colorado, it's city-owned. They charge $14 a day for an adult guest from 18 to 59, and they charge $10.75 for youth from 3 to 17 and any seniors over 60. So we are getting a great deal in Green Valley, and I know that this is a change for a lot of people, but we are moving into the next century, and I hope that we can all work through this together. Thank you.
Jody?
Okay, I have a question. Typically, when we have the annual pass, it was 1 card. If we go to 2 or 4, is there a way that we can issue 2 cards with the same expiration, and when 30 days is used up, both cards are expired? That way, if we do it for 2 adults, each adult has their own card, or 4 adults, each would have their own card, and that they still have the same 30-day uses. That solves that card possibility. I might have created a monster.
I'm just concerned about cards floating around there out in the world, only because we've had cards do that. Previously, we used to have our annual guest cards show up on eBay and on Craigslist because they were unlimited. This is thankfully limited. Right. It would be limited to 30 days. I think it's doable, but probably a bit more complicated than just saying 2 people can go on a card. So I hear what you're saying.
The problem was, well, we have 2 people and only 1 card. That solves the 2 people card situation, but I get what you're saying. The homeowner that has that card needs to be responsible for it. And if we find that they have not violated, but have over abused that, guess what? They don't get another guest card again. It's that easy.
I just thought, so we don't necessarily know if there's 2 people that would be coming to visit that particular member. So it seems very possible that we could issue 2 cards to the same member, and then they would essentially have 60 days to use those two cards. They could simply use one until it runs out and then go to the next
Okay,
one. So
but
that's another logistic
each card would
concern.
have the same expiration.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I got
no,
it.
so if
I
they
hear what you're saying.
issue, and regardless which card was swiped, that started one day's use,
Yeah.
whether that second card was used that day. And both cards have 30 swipes. And if another card swipes the next day, that's 2 days it's gone, and that's tied to both those cards. They have the same expiration. I don't know whether we have the capability.
I don't either. I'm a little concerned about the logistics, because the 30-day card was supposed to be open-ended for the convenience of members. So we wouldn't want to put start date and end date. It's 30 days that are
30-day swipes.
30-day swipes.
Each day is a swipe if they use.
If,
Okay. I think that's a good discussion item for sure.
Marge?
Not this one, this one, this one.
Scott, I have a question. So the way it's set up, there's one card, one person, 30 days over the year.
Correct.
No.
Over the full year. So I have a second guest. If we made it 2 guests, could you take the guest card in, the annual card in, and get a daily for them because you already have an annual?
That was the thinking, that if you have 2 guests, and you've already purchased your annual, which is a 30-day punch card, and you had 2 guests, you would need either another daily or another weekly for that one person.
But would you not, would we not charge for
We
that
would.
daily?
We would.
But I think if you have a guest card for 30 days and it's for the whole year, then you should be able to go in to member services and say, I have 2 guests, so I need a daily card for this week for the second guest. Is it a problem if say I'm in the pickleball courts and Jody's at the tennis court? If we're that far apart and you're trying to check who's using the guest card, isn't it a little hard to do that if we only have
Generally,
one?
they go to the same place because you need to be able to swipe in at the same location. So if there's couples or 2 people, they would generally be at the same place. We don't know that, but probably not always. I'm sure there's examples of somebody swiped to let their spouse in at this one, and then they went to another one. That's certainly possible.
Okay.
The policy says every person's supposed to carry a card. In this case, those are members. So we've relaxed it a bit for guests and previously, and again, here we tried to tighten it up a little bit, but maybe went a little too far. The idea was if you purchased an annual, that'd be good for one person. If you had 2 guests coming, at a minimum, you'd need another daily.
But could we set it up so that daily doesn't, if I say I buy a yearly card, and I know I had 30 days on the yearly card, but my daughter and her husband came to visit, and they wanted to go to the pool, and they wanted to go play pickleball. So I should be able to bring the card down here and say, I have 2 guests that are going to play on this. Can you give me a free daily card? Can we do that?
I think you probably could. You just would, but why just them? Why not everybody? It would, I guess.
Because I already paid for the yearly. That would only solve each of the guests having a card. That's all it would solve.
Correct.
And it's only good for that day, right?
Well, if that's what the policy was, then yeah, it would just be a daily.
You shutting me down?
No, I wouldn't think of it.
Yeah, he was going to shut me down. Okay, thank you.
Bart?
I think that a big part of the appeal of the annual guest card, certainly for me and my wife, and I think for a lot of people, is that you don't have to take guests down to member services every time they show up at your doorstep in order to get some sort of additional pass. So I think any system that we adopt, whether it bumps it up to 2 or it bumps it up to 4 as it was previously, it needs to keep GVR members from having to do that, drag their guests down to member services every time they show up if it's in excess of one person. I also wanted to point out that comparing GVR to commercial establishments like health clubs or even like Sun City or Robeson communities, I don't really think fits well, because all of those are for-profit enterprises, and therefore they're very intent on making sure that they squeeze every nickel out of anybody who crosses the threshold. But the same cannot be said for GVR, it being a nonprofit 501c4. Similarly, I don't know that municipalities are a great comparison for GVR either. Municipalities, for a variety of reasons, are tremendously expensive things to operate. And our little podunk 501c4 doesn't have those expenses associated with it. Thank you.
Beth?
Again, I think we solved already the major issue, and I don't think that that's what people are concerned about that much. I think what people are concerned about is putting more people on the guest passes. And again, I think some of the enforcement sounds slightly like overdone. I mean, the enforcement, people are going to be pretty straightforward and honest and say that, and they're probably not going to pretend that somebody's in the bathroom when they're not or something. I just think for those few instances where somebody lies about the fact that, I don't have my guest pass because somebody is very small. So I'm not sure that we need to put that into a policy. And the times that a couple might go to different places, well, that was always true with the other pass. So I don't see why we have to throw that into the mix either. I think we are looking at the guest passes and how many people get to be on each guest pass.
Just to comment on that, Beth, if you have two people on one card and they go to different places, one person's not going to have a card, not going to be able to get into the facility. Beth?
I would like to make a motion to change our daily guest to one guest per day at $5 per day, and the weekly guest to be one guest per card at $15 for a week, and the annual guest to be two guests per card at the current cost of $85.
I second that.
Jody?
Okay. I'd like to make a statement here. When this came about, I was against reducing to one. I think I was one of the few that wanted to go to two. I really wanted to leave it at 4, but I was going to be outvoted. Additionally, I think what I see here for myself personally, I can't speak for the rest of this board. I think when a problem is presented to the board and to the committees, we tend to get a little bit wrapped up with seeing it from one side and not necessarily from the member side. And we're here to represent you, and you all spoke. You all woke our eyes up. Maybe I myself in the future would like to take a step back and say, wait, what do I think our members might want to do? Because when we're presented with a problem, we do hear a lot from the operation and the corporation side. And I am here to represent you like these folks are. I don't say that they have anything ill will against you. I think we just get caught up in what we're trying to solve and don't see it the right way. So for that, I will be voting to increase the annual pass.
So I'd like to make a comment as well. We have been working on this for a year. Actually, we've been working on it longer than that because it has been a yearly problem for years and years and years. Abuse has been going on for years and years and years. Not necessarily your fault, but because we didn't write our policy to say what we were going to do if the abuse continued. However, I disagree with what Jody just said, because we issued a survey. We got 21, hang on, I have the floor. We got 2,100 responses to that survey. So we did not just pull something out of the air. Those 2,100 people spoke to the survey. And just to make a point, last year at the board elections, only 2,300 and something. I wrote it down. Anyway, 2,300 and some odd people voted in an election. There were 252 people difference. So why would we not pay attention to the people who took the time to answer the survey? And we did that. We did a survey to find out what the members thought. And for those who responded to the survey, we worked with that. And that's how we got to where we are. If people don't want to pay attention to the surveys that come through, then why are you coming in and complaining to us and sending us nasty letters at this point? No, you got the survey.
Kathy?
Okay, if you guys, please put your hands down for just a minute. I get the same courtesy everybody else on this board gets. They have all spoken, and I've waited to the end. So if you don't mind, in years past, not this board, but previous boards, there were people who had the mailing list from GVR, and so they would send out specific mailings to every member. I wasn't on the board then, but the board got responses from people that were extremely unhappy that I didn't ask for this. Why are you sending this to me? We could have done that, but we don't because of the prior experience. We don't want people saying, I didn't ask for that, don't send it to me. So we put it out in the e-blast that comes out every Friday. We did it for 3 weeks in a row. And we got 2,100 responses. So somebody saw it. Like I said, we've been working on this for a year. It bothers me that all of a sudden, because specific individuals find it difficult for them, that they send us these letters, and 99% of the letters that came in said, well, I can't come to your meeting on Wednesday. Why not? I mean, we didn't get attendees to our committee meetings during the year when we were going through all of this. We didn't get people coming to board meetings like we have right now. And this is nice, by the way. It's nice to see you all here. But it shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't be an after-the-fact problem, if you will. But I just, if 2,100 people cared enough to respond, what we said was, we heard you. We even put that in an e-blast. We heard you. And now we're going to back up. Now we're going to back up. I'm not saying it's the wrong decision to back up. I'm just saying it would be nice if you all responded to the surveys that we send out, because that's very helpful to this board. It would be helpful if you were on this board and had to make the decision, because we don't do these decisions overnight. Okay, Lanny.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone that's here in the audience. Nothing better than seeing member participation. I want to thank you for your letters. I want to thank you for your emails. And I've met a number of you, not folks that are here today, but who have expressed their surprise, dissatisfaction, satisfaction, so on and so forth. I will be supporting Bev's motion that she currently has on the floor. I think it's important to provide us with feedback. And I hope that you folks continue to do so, because that's how we can all work together, because we're members as well. And I think our credo is members serving members. And I want you to know that I truly appreciate your feedback, and I hope you continue to provide us with your feedback. And I hope that you continue to tell us when maybe we didn't do the right thing. But I also want to hear from you when you know that we've done the right thing as well. So thank you.
Bart?
Just a couple of quick points. Number one, the survey did show substantial support for annual guest passes. And when you say annual guest passes to people, they typically think of what an annual guest pass has been for the past decades, which does include up to 4 people. That's number one. Number two, the vast majority of the abuse that we have identified of annual guest passes will be resolved by the new technological fix that we've come up with the maximum of 30 days of swipes on an annual guest card. In other words, to my mind, confusing trying to reduce abuse with reducing the number of people admitted on a guest card was mistaken, I think, because the two really don't have much to do with one another. And for that reason, I am moving now to amend Bev's motion to change the policy back to what it's been for years and years and years, which is that one annual guest pass can admit up to 4, not 2. So that is the motion that I'm making now. Whether it gets a second, I don't know.
I'll second.
Candy?
I did.
Before we vote, can we hear from some people? Is that possible? Because I just feel like if we vote, then we're going to have to re-vote
The
again.
typical way that we do this on any particular item on the agenda is that the board discusses it first, and then before the vote is taken, the members can get up and make a comment. This is not a question and answer period. It has never been a question and answer period. But you have the right to get up and make your comments. Is the board finished?
No, I want to raise a point of order on the motion. I believe we have a motion on the table, and it was seconded. Believe that what was raised is not an amendment. It's a separate motion, basically revising it to go back to the previous policy. So I think you can't have 2 competing motions on the same time. And so if the person didn't agree with the motion that's on the table, they should vote against it. If it didn't pass, then bring the new motion forward. But I don't believe it's an amendment that was offered. So I would say from a Robert's Rule standpoint, we should vote, hear the discussion, but vote on the motion that's on the table that's been seconded.
Bart?
My motion was a motion to amend the motion that Bev made, just changing 2 persons to 4 persons. That is a motion to amend that earlier motion. And typically what happens is you vote on the motion to amend first, and then you vote on the underlying original motion.
Well, point of clarification on your motion was only related to the annual pass, because our motion has 3 components to it.
Nellie, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to agree with Bart, because in the past, we have always had a motion. If we had an amendment to that motion, then we voted on the amendment first and then the original motion. If the amendment doesn't pass, then we go back to the original.
Well, then point of clarification on the amendment, is it only on the annual pass? Or was it only on the annual pass?
Correct. In other words, it was in option 1 below, which is my understanding was part of Bev's motion. I'm just,
No,
no, hers was 2.
no, it wasn't.
Excuse me, Nancy, would you be able to read
That's right, that's why.
Bev's motion, original motion?
Okay, Director Lawless moved to reduce the GIST pass per day to $5 and the GIST pass for one person and the GIST pass per week to 15. And the annual GIST pass allows 2 GISTs per card for $85.
And Nancy, both of those for the daily and weekly were one person.
Okay, I do have that. 1 GIST pass per day at $5, 1 GIST pass per week at 15.
Yes.
And the annual GIST pass, 2 per card for 85.
Yes.
And then if we amend it, what I believe it would look like would be 1 GIST pass per day for 5, 1 GIST pass for $15 per week, and the annual GIST would allow 4 members.
Okay.
yeah.
I withdraw my point of order, then
I'm
it is
sorry.
truly an amendment.
That was the amendment for the 4, because Bev said 2, is that correct?
No. 1. Oh, annual pass 2, yes.
Okay,
yes.
okay. So the amendment would change Bev's motion for 2 people to an annual pass, to 4 people to an annual pass. And Bart, are you leaving the other 2 items as was?
Yes.
Okay. Does everybody understand that?
Yeah.
Lanny?
I don't. So, Bart, for your amendment, for the 4 passes, those 4 passes would only
No,
be valid,
Just 1 pass.
1 pass, 4 guests,
4 adults.
4 adults, 30 swipes, that's it.
Correct.
And then once the 30,
30 days.
30 days.
Yeah.
thank you,
Yeah, thanks.
30 days. 30 days.
Unlimited swipes.
So unlimited swipes for 30 days over a period of 365 days.
Well, the pass would have a maximum effectiveness, at least as I understand it, of 365 days from the time it's purchased, yes.
But only good for 30 days.
Right, those 30 days are
Okay.
kind of a gas tank,
Days.
but you can have
Days.
all the swipes you
We're
want on any
talking
No, I
given.
think why I'm bringing this up, being a guy, it takes me a lot to figure it out, is we want to make sure that everyone clearly understands is that, yes, we may be going back to 4, but it's not that we're not going back to the past, where those 4 passes were unlimited use for the year. There's only 30 days of swipes. So I think it's very, very clear that everyone understands this, because we're not
Yes.
going back to what it was. Thank you.
Jody?
Okay, I think what you have to understand, within that 365 days, you have 30 days uses. Within a single day, you could swipe it 15 times if you go to the center 15 times. So do not call it swipes. So a day, if you use 1 day in January and 4 in February, you've used 5 days uses of your 30 days. Okay? Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry. We're not taking a question and answer period. We have never done that. Scott, would you enlighten all of us?
You want me to repeat the amendment in the motion? Yes. All right, well, what seems to be on the table, the first thing that you would be voting on is Bart's amendment to Bev's motion, which is to increase the annual 30-day punch pass from 2 to 4, decrease the daily pass, annual pass, Bev motion to do 2, Bart amended to do 4. Bev's motion also included decreasing the daily pass from 10 to 5 and decreasing the weekly pass from 30 to 15. And the daily and the weekly would only allow one person per pass. That's the amendment. The first amendment that you'll be voting on is to allow up to 4 people per the annual pass. You vote on the amendment first.
He's correct. We're doing the amendment first. I'm sorry. We're doing the amendment first. So it would increase it to 4 people. And that's the amendment. So if that doesn't pass, then we would go to the original and we would go back to Bev's, which allows for 2. Same number of days, same number of people, except the 2 to 4. Okay, Bev.
And also on the annual pass, and I'm not sure how it would work honestly in the daily and weekly, but on the annual pass, it's 2 guests, but that's adults, because children under what?
Under 18.
Under 18 are free anyway, but they do need to be with somebody with a pass.
Right.
Ready to open.
Okay, now we're going to take comments. And it would be very helpful, not everybody get up at once, but it would be very helpful if you could line up behind the first person at the mic, because if we have to wait for each individual to get up at wherever they are sitting and walk to the mic, we're going to be here till next Tuesday. So we are going to take comments, so anybody that would like to make a comment, please get up. And if you would, please, we need your name and your GVR number, or your address, either way.
Okay, my name is Amy Dean.
I'm sorry, you need to be very close to that mic to be heard.
I'm glad I'm first. My name is Amy Dean. I live at 949 West Via de la Fonda. I recently found out that non-member, non-residents of Green Valley receive free services in addition to their stipend that they get paid.
In addition to what?
The stipend they get paid.
Could you please just repeat that from the beginning, because I don't think I heard everything.
Non-members, non-Green Valley residents receive a stipend for their services to come and watch the center, and also receive a free GVR pass for the year. That's what I was told by the woman who I met at the pool.
I'm going to give that to Scott.
I don't think that's being debated or discussed today, but it is.
I understand, but you're looking for ways to save money and reduce fraud.
Sure.
And
I will argue, I don't believe it's our employees that are creating the fraud. We do allow our employees to have 2 passes so they can utilize the centers as well, which I fully support. It's a great benefit, but it also gets our staff into the centers so they can be another set of eyes and ears.
I disagree.
I understand.
Also, I never received a survey. Just making a statement. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marcia Beck. My GVR number is 255786. And I've always gotten an annual pass. I will admit I was one of the people that probably was your high numbers, because I had one on my purse, one in my pickleball bag, because I didn't want to always have to chase my pass around. But I agree with Bart. I think the annual pass with 4, if you're in 2 locations, get a daily or a weekly. So you have a pass. That'll take care of your issue with not having a pass. If I have 4 guests and we're in one place, I'll call them together to show the pass. I'll tell them they'll come, they have to check it. I think reducing the weekly and daily pass to 1 is a real disadvantage for any member that doesn't have a lot of guests and doesn't get an annual pass. It's just wrong. It's good for me, I don't care. But if I only have people come for 1 week a year, I think I'm being, it's a disadvantage to me. So that's the only thing. And I took the survey. I talked about enforcement. Never did that survey say should we make it one person. So thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. Next.
Hi, my name is Debbie Edstrom, and my GVR number is 242869. I did not get a blast. The last e-blast I got was from 2019. When you talked about the fees in Colorado for the things, you're not paying $545 on top of that. And you've gone from one extreme to the other. Unlimited stuff to one. And why can't you issue multiple GVR or guest pass cards that count the swipes so you could go different places but 30 days, 30 swipes a year, you've gone from one extreme to the other, unlimited to 30. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Debbie.
Hi, my name is Mike Hancock. I have to read my badge because I'm so new, I don't have my number memorized. It's 272083. I probably didn't reply to your survey because I just bought our house in September. We were here a week, got our badges, learned about the guest privileges, went home to Washington and came back just under a month ago. So we're really very new, but I got to tell you that one of the things that we really liked about Green Valley and GVR was that we could buy an annual guest pass and have up to 4 guests. So I support your amendment to the motion. I've got adult grandkids and adult children, and if they come together, then I'd have to buy extra passes. The idea of me being able to go down once a year, buy 1 guest pass, take care of the limited number of times that I'm going to have guests without a lot of headache, without having to think about, oh gosh, I got to go buy a daily pass today, or I got to go buy a weekly pass, just seems cumbersome to me. It seems to me like you have a problem with abuse, and rather than narrowly focusing your attention on correcting the abuse, you've changed rules to affect everybody else that isn't abusing. And I think that that's not the right way to do that. So that's all I have to say. I support the addendum. I hope that you vote in favor of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
My name is Chuck Tyson, member number 181044, and I was going to say the same thing he did, so I'll skip that. Was the amendment...
I'm sorry, you need to speak into the mic. Our microphones throughout GVR, you need to speak right into the microphone or we can't hear you.
Thank you. My name is Chuck Tyson, member number 181044. I was going to say the same thing he did, but I'll skip that. But on the altering the original amendment, was that seconded? Okay, didn't hear it back there. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Michael Fletcher. I'm also new here.
I'm sorry, we can't, you have to be closer to the mic. There
Okay.
you go. Thank you.
My name is Michael Fletcher. I'm new here as well. My number is 271857. GVR was a big reason why I came down here. And I'm a single person. The idea of having 1 guest would be fine for me for the full year was a big attraction. And I still don't understand a lot of how GVR works, but what I'm gathering is when you purchase a house, you know, the husband and wife, whatever, the 2 people have passes. And as a single person, I pay the same amount, I believe, as anybody else. So it seems to me that you're taking away from me, you know, minus the 30 days that I would have gotten with a guest to utilize. So I guess I don't understand if that's what I'm hearing. And I think that's a big distraction for me. It's being a single person, it's important for me to have my guests, whoever they are, and have the enjoyment of utilizing the pool, whatever, the full year instead of just 30 days. So.
Thank you.
My name is Daniel Boone. My guest, or my pass number, or my GVR number is 243789. I would like to support the 4-guest limit. I think that's important. And if, at least needs to be 2, because if my daughter and her husband come down, and my wife and he go to, and her daughter go to the water aerobics class in the morning, that's 1 swipe there for my daughter. And then they decide to go to the hot tub after they've gone to the bathroom, that's 2 swipes, or 3, actually 3 swipes, because you got to get into the gate. And then if my son-in-law and I go to the fitness center in the afternoon, 1 swipe to get in the gate, 1 swipe in the fitness center, and then we go to the hot tub, that's 3 swipes. Within a week, we've used up our 30 swipes.
Can I speak to that, please? We have designed it in such a way that it is based on days, not swipes. So the 30-day punch card is in fact 30 days. It's not consecutive, it's any 30 days from throughout the entire year from the date of purchase. So you can swipe in 10 times a day.
Okay.
It's going to count as 1.
1 day.
Yep.
30 days. All right.
Yep.
All right. That makes more sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Christine Gabrielson. My number is 269617. My husband and I live in Casa Paloma 1. At a women's tea this morning, 20 people asked me to represent 20 households in Casa Paloma 1. And listening to everything that's going on, I believe that all of us would support Amendment 4 and the rest of the First Amendment. So thank you very much. We have 4 adult children who come. So 2 would be a real problem for us. So I really appreciate all of your hard work. I do not get the e-blast, so I need to figure out how to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine.
Hi, my name is Jamie Marvin, and my number is 249536. And I'm here to thank you, first of all, because this was not an easy topic to address with the masses. So thank you for that. Question about the 30 punches or the 30 days. That's not consecutive, it's per day's use. You can use it 10 times per day, up to, and I think that was a big misconception. So I think a lot of answers have been given here for people who were misunderstanding some of the policy changes. What if you use up your 30 days? Is that renewable within that year?
No, it wasn't designed that way, and we have debated and discussed that, because if it was renewable, then I think we would be opening up that door again for those people that were swiping, again, in one case up to 500 times. But that was one case. We had many that were in the hundreds. And we know who they were, and we know they weren't swiping in and out all day long. They were going to one place, and that was about it. So they were there every day, and these aren't members. So that was the big concern.
Can you quantify for me how many people?
How many
10,
people?
100 abused it?
Oh,
I hear about
gosh.
the 500
Do you
person
remember?
user.
I mean, we're probably talking, there were probably at least 40 that were in the hundreds, maybe 30 in the 200s, and maybe 20 in the 300s. It was pretty significant.
Okay. Thanks, and thanks again for what you guys have done this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Linda Moulton, 186980. I'll just read this. GVR used to be a welcoming place for family and friends of members. Guests could visit and use facilities, and members paid a reasonable fee to entertain our out-of-town visitors. With the recent changes to the guest policy and higher costs, many members can no longer afford to do that. I am a single occupant. I'm paying the same dues as a two-member household. In 2020, GVR reinstated the complimentary ID card policy to make things more equitable for single households. Now my guest card is severely limited. It amounts to about 1 month of access instead of 12, compared to a two-member household. And I don't see how that is acceptable or fair. In my opinion, this policy punishes members. It makes guest access more difficult, more inconvenient, more expensive. Members are not the problem. We are being made the scapegoat for the board's failure to address the real issue, properly monitoring the facilities. There was no problem with the previous guest policy, and it should be instated. Once again, members are not the problem. We need to have monitors.
Scott's going to.
Just one comment, if I could. We've heard from a few single property owners. That means there's one person on title or deed. You are entitled, as you know, to an annual complimentary guest card. As of yesterday, well, as of now, it's still limited to the 30 punches, but for the same reason and argument that you just made, there's been a recommendation to the board to increase that up to the opportunity to be able to renew your card once. So that would be up to 60 days. I will say, of the 3,200 complimentary guest cards that have been issued, only 108 were more than 30 days in a year. So if we decrease that, or we increase that number to 60 days, because we were getting the 500 swipes, that's why. Yes, one card. You know what? We shouldn't do this. Yeah. Here's the problem, everybody, with the policy. There was no teeth in the policy. All it said was guests are temporary visitors of our members, but there was nothing that identified or quantified what temporary meant. We've heard a lot of people say, well, just call that person and say you're abusing it. Again, there's no definition of what abuse really is. Is it 100 times? Is it 50 times? Is it 500 times? So that was an enforcement challenge. So we made it a hard line so that it was very clear. There was no ambiguity there or subjectivity. And we heard from quite a few of you that said, why can't you enforce your policy? Well, this is why. Because there was no way to quantify exactly what a temporary person meant. We actually looked at the language at a lot of other organizations, and they didn't use ambiguous language like that. They actually said, we welcome your guests. You can, use this up to, 30 days in the entire year, or whatever that might be, whatever that is. But there were none that had ambiguous language such as temporary. Again, it's pretty unenforceable. So that's really the thinking behind it. And so again, increasing the complimentary guest pass up to an opportunity to renew that gives you up to 60. I think if I recall that means there are 30 people that will be affected by that limitation. But that means 3,100 people wouldn't be affected by that limitation. So we're hopefully we've struck a balance with that.
I'm sorry, we're going to move on to the next person. We're not doing a debate here.
I'm Peter O'Dwyer. My number is Shouldn't have taken my glasses off. 223-500. I want to thank you all first for working hard to try to resolve a problem that disturbed a lot of the residents. And I thank you for holding this meeting to revise it. I think perhaps many people, Kathy, don't respond to the surveys. Thank you. You know, when my wife takes the car to get the oil changed 3, 4, 5 times a year, she never writes a letter or makes a call every time they did a good job. But if they mess it up, she might call. And so I think the returns on those surveys may have reflected that the vast majority of the membership probably didn't see much of a problem, but those who did, man, they made sure they filled out that survey. So I filled out the survey, but I'm a bit more in Bart's camp. So I like the idea of maintaining the 4 persons. 30 visits has me scared. I'd pay extra for 40, but that's a battle for another day. But thank you so much for listening to me and the membership.
Thank you.
My name is Bill Cafu. My number is 262-432. My issue is kind of along the lines with the single people having 1 membership. I have 2 homes. Me and my wife just get 2 each a membership. I have a tenant that's a 6-month tenant, and now you're telling me they can only go for 30 days?
No, that's not what we said. This does not involve tenants. Tenants will be looked at exactly the way they have been.
When we used to be able to buy a tenant card, and we were told we could not. They said we had to buy the 30-day card.
I would suggest calling our member services department again, because that doesn't sound correct.
Who should I ask for?
You can ask for, anybody should be able to help you, but the director, Chris Subicki, lovely lady over there waving her hand, can probably help you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Sure.
My name's Ed Palmer, member 260302, and we bought here 5 years ago, my wife and I, and love it. We just recently bought another house a couple of doors away for our kids and grandkids to stay. We don't rent it out. We just have it for them to use. And I would request, we ended up paying $3,100 transfer fee and the $540 or whatever for another year. But I understand we have to buy a guest pass. And I would request that along with, it sounds like a single occupant can get a second guest pass, that if you have another house and pay what to me is quite a bit of money, that should come with 2 guest passes at no fee. You're getting $540 some a year, and I feel like I'm getting screwed out of something there if we don't get something. And 2 guest passes seems fair as can be for the amount of money you're collecting for that second house. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Floyd Madura. My number is 263020. I did fill out the survey. I did vote to maintain the existing guest pass policy. One of the things I would have liked to have seen, and I can't ask it as a question, but if you want to tell me, I didn't ever see the results of the survey. I would like to have seen that. Most surveys I've been involved in organizations I've been a part of, they've published the results. That helps a lot when we come to a meeting like this, so we know we're kind of like arguing against or supporting something that was already, maybe it was a 51 to 49 rather than 75 to 25 or 90 to 10. So that is something I'd like to see you do in the future if you didn't do it this time, and then you can reprimand me if I was off and I didn't see it. I'm trying to communicate and listen to what you guys are doing, and I'm not here 7 months of the year, so I appreciate what you do in those months I'm away. I would support the amendment or including the motion because I think it's going to go through. I don't want to necessarily argue my point on the existing guest policy, though I was very satisfied with it because it was very uncomplicated. And I don't want something to be complicated. On the other hand, I would also submit an idea would be, and I don't know if it opens a can of worms up for you guys, but if we didn't have to go up to the GVR office to get a guest pass, but we could call it in and pay for it on the phone or pay for it somehow online. The fact that I actually went up there 3 times because I was trying to balance it. My family was here right over the end of the last year and into the new year. And so we had to kind of figure it out. I had to go up there 3 times, and I never did buy the new one because I wasn't ready even to say I for surely agreed with it. So anyway, anything you can do to simplify that, because it seemed kind of hardcore that, no, you have to come back again, and you have to come back again. And then sometimes I went up and no one was there. And I don't know exactly if it happened to be because it was the holidays and things changed from normal. I don't know. So that's my main input. The other input would be, I don't know how you got to 30-day, even though I like the 30 days as opposed to swipes, that's for sure. But it just seems like kind of a hardcore it's kind of a low number to me. If I guess to solve it, I have to buy a second guest pass for the year. It is solvable.
I'm sorry, Lloyd, but we do have a limit of 2 minutes,
Okay.
and that beeper, that's what the 2-minute beeper was.
Very good.
We appreciate your input. I think
All right.
Scott has something to say about one of your questions.
Yeah, now I can't remember what it was, unfortunately.
One was the publishing of the
Being able to do
survey.
it
The other
online.
one was
Being able to-
having to
we
go
could-
up to the GVR office.
No.
to
Yeah,
maybe-
okay, I got it. We're pretty certain that the survey results did go out. You might have missed those, it's possible. You can go back into the archives of our e-blasts and prove that I'm wrong, which is certainly possible, but I'm about 90% certain that we did. And in terms of online or phone, absolutely. Our software doesn't allow that right now. We're not that sophisticated, and we all want to be. I think, well, maybe not all of us. But some of us want to be, and want to make it easy for you to be able to purchase your card or your passes online, or at least by phone. The nice thing about your cards right now is there's you can reuse those cards, so they don't just go bad. You could actually call up and say, I need another guest pass, another daily pass for this card. Here's the number, and give us your credit card over the phone, and we can reload that card for you. So we have the capability of that now. We want to be able to get to the place where you can do it on your own online.
Okay.
And we're not there yet, but we're looking.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tommy Thompson, and number 207730. Been a member here for 11 years. I bragged to my family and to my friends in Colorado what a great area this is, the facilities, and how you were guest friendly. Since then, I've had 3 sisters move down here. I have 4 kids, and they come down here quite often during spring break, so that's basically in March. So I have more than 2, of course. Might have 4, but we want to be able to use your facility, especially the pool. I live right across the street from Desert Hills, and man, do I love that pool. And of course, I love all the pools. But I asked that the 4-person policy be reinstated, because if someone's going to have family down, chances are they might have more than just 2 people. And my sister, who's sitting in the audience, she has more than 2 people come down. So I'm asking that kind of move back to the old policy of 4 people. And I appreciate your attention to all this.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Paul Mina. My number is 244680. I have the same situation that another gentleman mentioned over here earlier. I have a second house. I use it for family and friends because sometimes during the holidays there's so many family that come down that I needed a second house. And I can't get another annual pass for that one, or a lot of things for there. And so if we could be allowed another guest pass, because I pay your dues for both of them, because I need to. But anyways, then I like the four things, so thank you very much for bringing that up. The other thing I thought of is, let's say somebody hasn't bought a pass at all, and they get guests over the weekend, and now they want to go swimming. They can't take the guests swimming. How do you get around that?
I'm not understanding the question. Why would they not be able to take their guests swimming?
Because they don't have a pass. They don't have a guest pass. They don't have an annual pass. They don't have any of that stuff. They didn't know to go buy any of that stuff ahead of time, because all of a sudden somebody shows up over the weekend. They want to enjoy the facilities because, just like the gentleman said, he's told everybody how nice it is to use all the facilities. What do? They can't do anything. There's no offices open.
And that was the benefit of the 30-day punch pass, because it's not specific to any days. A lot of people will buy them because people may just show up and the office is closed and you need a pass. So here was the opportunity to hopefully solve that.
But let's say they didn't buy anything yet, though.
Yeah, you would have to buy an annual pass, right?
So over the weekend, they couldn't have any guests over if they don't have a pass.
Well, not entirely. I mean, what we do now is, if there are people that show up on the weekend, one of our staff members at the centers can sell a daily pass. If
So they
have
can
to call our COA, the COA will come over and sell them a daily pass.
Oh, they
It's
can
not
take
perfect
money
100%, but it's better than it used to be.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, and I thank you for bringing the floor up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm fairly new here. My number is 272.
Excuse me, you can move that microphone down. There you go.
Okay, my name's Janelle Hancock. I'm fairly new. My number is 272084, and I am in favor of the four-person pass thing. And I'm wondering, instead of 30 days, since there was some huge hundreds of times used, maybe you could make it 50 days or 60 days to better support the members that need a little more time, but not overuse. Thank you.
Thank you.
Deb Madden, number 179468. And I think everything has been mentioned what I was thinking of. I appreciate the change in the four-member. I like that. Also, when you own two homes, to be able to get an additional pass for that, because we are paying exactly the same amount of member fees as anybody else. And also increasing from 30 days to possibly 60 days. I think that would alleviate a lot of problems. And the other thing is that I think you should give all your support staff at the offices a huge, huge thank you, because they needed signs that said, "Don't kill the messenger" on them. They fielded a lot of bad vibes, I think. But thank you for having this meeting. It's a good thing.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Lorraine Bridden, number 248670, and I did complete the survey. I didn't see the results, and I just now today am realizing that being a single owner, I previously could have, if I got lucky, a boyfriend all year, and he could go with me to the facility. Now I find out, should he come along, he can only come on 30 separate dates. Is that right? I get an extra pass, which used to be good every day, just like my pass. And now that pass is only being good for 30 specific dates. Is that correct?
Let me make the comment that those annual passes that are purchased by other than single people do get one complimentary guest pass. And we are, with this decision, going to limit that to 30 days. You have the figures.
Why?
Hang on just a second. There was 108 people that abused that. So the people who got one card, and I'm among them, That's the reason I got involved in GVR back in 2016, was because single people paid the same price as a married couple, and we only got one card and they got two. We rectified that effective the 1st of January 2020.
Correct.
And every single person, single homeowner, got a choice of either a single card as a complimentary guest card, and it specifies on the card, limit one person per visit. Or, and this is nodding to those people who are not married and not on the deed, they had a choice then if they were living with somebody and that person could identify that they had a interest in the home, an electric bill, I don't care what it was. They then could get a card for the whole year. It was called
complimentary annual pass.
Yeah.
So it's no longer a complimentary guest pass, it's a complimentary annual pass. And that's for somebody that's living in the home that isn't on title but can prove that they live there through a utility bill or a tax statement or whatever.
Throughout the year.
And there's no charge for that.
Yeah, so you have a choice of one or the other, and that would be for all single people. Some of the others came up. We even got letters from people that didn't realize they were even entitled
lucky.
to a single card. And I don't know why they don't know, because we've been giving out cards to single homeowners as they purchase their homes. Maybe it was somebody that purchased a home prior to 2020 and they didn't get the message. That can happen. But single people, you don't get to have more than a married person.
No,
That's
how
why
about we just get to have the same? If
but
we
you
own
get
the
one or
home
other,
and we pay the
but you get one or
dues.
the other, and this is the first year we're going to limit it to 30.
Why?
Because
Someone
we
was
have had
naughty.
the same abuse from single people handing their cards out to others.
And no married people did that.
No. I'm saying single people who had a complimentary guest card, the same as, let's say, a married couple that bought an annual guest card. Both parties were abusing the system. Both parties were. It's not one over the other. It's both parties abusing the system. And you're right. It is not
Fair.
Well, you're right. We're trying to adjust for the people who are abusers, and we shouldn't have to do that.
Don't adjust it on my back.
We're not doing that.
You are.
We don't feel we are
are.
doing it. Well, I'll tell you
Well,
what.
thank you.
Why don't you run for the board, and then that way you can come.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say, you all can continue coming up, but I know we're all eager to hear this vote, right? And I think there might even be some additional discussion amongst the board, too. Sir?
My name is Barton Knight, 263905. The one thing that I think the board is talking completely around, you're barking up the wrong tree. The tree is not, the problem is not with the 4 people or the limited 30 days or 365 days. The problem's with the violators. And there's been very little discussion about that. There ought to be a way for the person who swiped 500 times or 200 times, what are we talking? 50 people, 100 people, yet there are thousands of people who are being impacted by this. And that's, to my way of looking at it, that's the issue. When is the board going to address the word temporary? Certainly we can define that somehow and narrow that down. That's the problem. But we've taken, and I congratulate you for addressing the issue, but I think you've missed the big picture. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Mark Hobbiger, 264124. I've bought an annual pass for a number of years for the convenience. I didn't know when my kids were coming. They call you up and go, hey, we're coming next weekend, and that's awesome. Grandma's having, and I'm going, oh, my aching, whatever, you know. But when they get here, 2 of the adult children want to go play pickleball, a couple more want to go in the hot tub, and some others have a workout regime. All right, I had an annual pass, and we would go and take care of it. I didn't know anything wrong about letting them in different places because I had an annual pass. It was still 4. And I advocate that we go back to 4, because going to one, which I was hit in the face with when I read that, and literally it's how it felt to me, so unreasonable, so inconvenient. I do have a daughter and her husband coming this weekend. In the past, I'd have an annual pass. We'll go on the spur of the moment, decide what we want to do and where we want to go. And I could get them in and it'd be fine. Now I've bought 2 weekly passes because I don't know the days exactly that they're going to want to go to these places while they're visiting. So I swallowed and I bought the weekly pass, but I had to go get it and it'll be done. And now if some other family comes a little later, I've got to face the decision again to do something. So I was all for the 2, only because it increased from 1. 1 is unreasonable. It's unfriendly, and you're punishing those members who have done things rightly as best they can for some abusers. And the abuse needs to be taken care of. But I support 4 for the convenience, for the friendliness, and that's how I'll end. That this present 1 is very unfriendly.
Thank you, Mark.
Thomas Davis, thank you for your service. My number is 259-300. I am also the president of the Kanoa Northwest HOA. I support option 2 of 4-person utilizing 1 card. But I also support that after the 30 days, that because it's only less than 10% of the year, that the members should be able to buy another guest card. I don't see how that can be frauded, because with 1 card, they're swiping all year for that same price. But that would force them to buy another card, which would stop the fraud, because that would be like, that would add that, double that expense. So I don't see that being a problem. So members should be able to buy more cards when they run out, since it's less than 10% of the year. I also think it's extremely unfair that members that pay 500, or houses that pay $540 a year don't always get 2 passes. And I support that every house that pays $540 a year gets 2 passes, regardless of if they're married or whatever their personal situation is. That's not your business. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any board members have anything else they would like to add? I would just like to make a comment, because I had a lady in my neighborhood years ago, before I got on the board, but I was involved with the committees, and she came up to me and she said, you need to give every household 4 passes. If we gave 4 passes to every household, that's 55,560. When would you like me to be able to use the facilities? Because I'm paying for them. And she said, never mind. Please keep in mind, it is not just for 100 people. We have 13,890 homes. And if we give every home 2 passes, as this gentleman just stated, we're at 27,000 some passes out there. 2 per home. 2 per home at 13,890 is going to be 27,000 cards that are going to be out there. I'm just trying to point out to you, when you ask for that many passes to every household, that's going to be a problem. Okay, do we want to, is everybody ready to take a vote? Bev?
I would like to make an amendment to Bart's amendment.
Oh dear.
I would like to keep the daily guest pass to $5 per day, allowing one guest. The weekly guest pass to $15 for one guest. And I would like to amend the annual guest pass to 2 guests, but that they can renew it one time. It would be 30 days, but renew one time.
Okay, so now we have an original, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Nellie's going to second that. So now we have the original, an amendment by Bart, and an amendment by the original motion maker. Nancy, would you like to read the amended? Because we take the last one first and we vote backwards.
Yes, the amendment, Director Lawless stated 1 daily guest pass for $5, 1 weekly guest pass for a cost of $15, and amend the annual guest pass for 2 guests and can renew for 1 time.
Okay. All those in favor, please raise your hand. We have 2. That would be Bev Lawless and Nellie Johnson. All those opposed to that? And that would be 9 opposed. Now, the second amendment.
The First Amendment.
Could you do that again, please, Nancy? No, there's 2 amendments, so we got to take Bart's first before we go back to yours, your original amendment.
No, I didn't have I had an original motion. Bart had the original amendment.
But you're correct, you do have to go to Bart's.
You have to go to Bart's.
So we're not going to vote on Bev's?
On Bart's.
No, Bart's.
So we're not going to vote on Bev's original motion?
No.
After you do the amendment on
That's what I
Bart's.
thought, okay.
I have a question.
So we have 2 more. We have the original motion that Bev made that had a second, and then we had Bart's amendment, and then we had the third one that we just voted on. So the second one would be Bart's amendment. Nancy, would you please read that?
Yes, Bart's amendment is the same as the weekly and the daily, but add 1 annual guest pass, which will admit up to 4 people.
For 30 days.
Okay.
For 30 days. For 30 days.
We
voting
actually
now.
haven't stated 30 days in any of these motions. I believe that's just been what,
A given
A
so
given.
far.
right.
Okay.
So
All those in favor of the second amendment, please raise your hand. 4. There are 6 yeses. All those not opposed to that motion or not in favor, whatever way you want to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 no, so the motion passes. So at this point, I'm assuming the original motion is a moot point. Or do we still
No, you
vote
have to
on
pass
that?
the original. You have to move.
You have
the
to vote,
original's now
okay.
been amended, so you have to vote on the original.
Okay, so we have to vote on the original. And so Nancy, would you please read that one?
Okay, so we vote on the original as an amended motion, which is 1 guest pass per day at $5, 1 guest pass per week at $15, and the annual guest pass will allow 4 members in for $85.
For a period of 30 days.
No, two members. The original said two.
It's now amended, though.
Okay. Then why are we voting on it?
Did I say that right?
It's
4
been amended.
members.
Why are we voting on it?
It's the amendment.
Okay.
I think it's Robert's rules, but if you don't want to, then just consider it approved.
Okay.
Kelly and I agree, you should vote on the amended motion.
Motion.
That's what we just voted on.
No, you voted on the amendment, so you're basically taking the same vote again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know what you're, do you know what you're voting on?
that?
I think you do, but, correct, you haven't voted on the original motion, which has been amended, and that's what you're being asked to do now. That's correct.
Okay. All those in favor, please raise your hand.
I'll state it one more time, okay?
Please.
Hang on.
Okay, once you have amended the motion, which we have passed, we now need to vote on the amended motion, which is $5 for 1 day, $15 for 1 day per, and then 4 annual guest pass. 4 people on 1 annual guest pass.
Valid for 30 days.
We did.
But you have to.
That's what we just said.
That was the amendment.
It's an amendment.
That was the amendment, and now
It's
we
the
are
same thing.
voting on the same thing we just voted on. So all those in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
There are 10 yeses, and I am voting no, so there would be 1 no.
Madam Chair?
Okay,
Madam Chair?
yes.
I would like to make a motion that we allow 1 renewal on the 30 days.
I second that.
So that would be 1 renewal on every card that is for 30 days?
Every guest card, if you've used your 30 or you're close, you can renew it for another 30. Scott, can we do that?
We can do that.
And just to make clear, you're talking an additional $85 for the renewal.
Leave it to you to ask these kinds of
I'm
questions.
making clear, I'm trying to make it clear.
That's a good question, because somebody did say, allow me to buy another card. So what was your intent?
My intent, when they bought the original card for 30 days, if they use it up because they have a lot of kids coming to visit, they can extend it for another 30 days at no charge. No.
Can I ask a follow-up question, please? Why not just extend it to 60 days?
I agree. I agree.
Okay? I'll change my motion. Let me, Madam Chair, let me change my motion to I make a motion that instead of the 30 days, that the guest cards have 60 days.
And as second, I agree with that.
For the same price.
And it's renewed.
No, not renewable. Not renewable.
85 for the 60 days.
All right, there's been a motion and a second.
And not renewable, right?
Beth?
I don't know if I can add this to the, but I would like to, if we approve this, I would like to see in a year what the abuse looks like and whether we've managed to do both things, to give a lot of, time for a lot of chances for everybody to have the pass, and also whether there's some way that what we're doing, if we do this, to sort of figure out whether, in fact, it does impact the problem that we've had, and it is a serious problem. What do you think? Do you think?
Again, I
that's the
think this
question.
would limit it to 60 times, right, instead of 500 times. So I still think it's a big step in the right direction. So do you want to repeat the motion?
Okay, and can I just say one more thing? Sure. I would like to amend it to say that you pay another $85. Okay.
Is there a?
All right. See, I've been, okay. You know, GVR's actually on, you know, things are tight. It's not like we have millions of dollars to throw around all the time, but okay, obviously people don't like it, so.
Nancy, would you like to read the motion, please?
Director Garneau moved and Director Walker seconded to, instead of having the 30 days on an annual pass, it would be up to 60 days for the same price. And the 4 is still part of that because that was our first motion, amended motion.
Yeah. She's just changing the days, not the number, I guess.
Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. We have 8 yeses, all those opposed? 2, 3, and 3 noes. Okay. Okay, so I think we're done. Kathy?
I move to adjourn.
Comment, please. I'm sorry, Beth, did you have? Yeah.
Oh.
What was just passed was increasing the 30-day limit on the annual pass to 60 days, increasing the limit of 1 person per annual pass to 4, reducing the cost of the daily pass from 10 to 5 and the weekly pass from 30 to 50, and each, or 15, and weekly and daily would have a limit of 1 person per pass.
Yeah, we do.
No.
No, but it's increased to 60 days. And we will be putting out an extensive communications piece on this, probably in Friday's e-blast, because it's pretty confusing. But thank you all for being here and contributing.
We have another meeting. I'm doing that.
Me too. I need a motion to adjourn,
I make a
please, from the
motion,
board.
we adjourn the special meeting.
So move.
You have a work session now.
All in favor? And we have a work session following.
Yeah.
No, you know. Yeah.
3:45. Okay.